Hello, guys, and welcome to Odds Europa League quarterfinal second leg. Dani Fisichella and Alvaro Romeo are with us. Hello, to analyze everything that is going to happen on Thursday, and everything is very open, and we have very good odds. We have very good games. So, guys, remember, of course, to comment the video with us, telling us your tips, who is going to qualify for the semifinals of the Europa League, and of course, press the like and subscribe. And now, let's go on with the show. And the first game we are going to analyze is Roma Feyenoord. Dani, very open. The script that we saw in Holland was almost the one we predicted. Actually, it was a very close game. Roma could have had the upper hand. They missed a penalty. So now Feyenoord, they have a slight advantage. 1-0. Roma know perfectly how to overcome these kind of results at home. The Olímpico is made of these magical evenings. Dani, they beat Real Sociedad and Salzburg already in these knockout stages in the Olímpico. Do you expect something similar, also a magical evening in the Eternal City?
It's going to be a tough game for Roma, but I expect them to go through. I expect them to qualify, and I expect them to overturn the deficit. Perhaps in the 90 minutes, there are 120 minutes, of course, and penalties. But ask Bodo Glimt, ask Leicester last season when they had to go to the Olympic and play the return match, as you mentioned, of course, Salzburg. Roma are built for this sort of games, and in the Kuip, which is very difficult environment to play, there were no away fans anyway as well. They had the better chances. They hit the bar, they hit the post with Pellegrini, and then they lost both Abraham and Dybala for an injury and conceded a little bit of a freakish goal, really, because Jahanbash kind of ducks in front of Rui Patricio. It could have been offside and the ball ends in the back of the net. But Roma are able to win the scrappy games. So did the weekend against Udinese. Wasn't a great game. Then missed the penalty, scored on the rebound, scored other two in the second half with Pellegrini, who obviously needed a bit of a boost after missing the penalty in the Netherlands, and then finished off with Abraham. I think it's the 13th clean sheet of the season for Roma. I've lost count of many games in the last season and a half. They won 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, very, very small margin, very tight. It's gonna be scrappy. And the good news is that they rested Dybala, who had a problem with his abductor. He doesn't need surgery. It's not any big issues. He's gonna be back. I think Tammy Abraham might start this one. And Feyenoord already traveled this season to Lazio, to Rome, and lost 4-2. They were heavily beaten. They conceded 4 in the first half, if I'm not wrong. And I think they are a different side when they are at home and when they travel. It's a young side. They got very interesting prospect. I think Koçu, the Turkish midfielder, is probably one of the ones to follow. But I think if you look at the two sides and also compared to last season when they met in the Conference League finals, they're both stronger. But I think for me, Roma still is the strongest side. I'm going to go for a simple one. Roma to qualify, 240, which, it can allow, obviously, extra time and penalties, but I think it's a great value.
Because Feyenoord, they are heavy favorites, 1.64. Also, perhaps a missed penalty can be good in this game. Alvaro, apart from the penalties that Dani mentioned, even Rui Patricio saved a penalty in the weekend against Udinese. How do you see this Roma Feyenoord? I'm looking forward to listen to the Roma anthem at the Olímpico in these magical nights, always special.
I'm looking forward to this anthem. Also, I'm looking forward to hearing Sevilla's anthem at Sánchez Pizjuán. I think that the Olímpico factor is going to be key here. I think Roma has done it very well under Jose Mourinho in this type of games, especially in knockout tournaments like the Conference League last season, the Europa League this season. This time, the Olímpico factor will be needed because, for example, against Real Sociedad, Roma played the second leg away and they managed to keep a clean sheet. This time, they will have to go at it and try to score. And I think that they won't go crazy in attack because Jose Mourinho is not in his nature, basically. But I still believe that Roma will have a big chance. And that's why I'm going to back Roma to win 195. And Dani did variation of that, which gives you more money, which is Roma to qualify. But I am more than happy with making 2 for Roma to win, and then let's see what happens. A penalty shootout, maybe, some really nice extra time, some cagey extra time, anything can happen. But Roma to win 2 or 195 in this case is good enough. In the semifinals, Leverkusen or Union Saint-Gillois will be waiting, and I do believe that Roma or Feyenoord will have also reasons to believe that if they go through here, they will have a chance to be in the final, because the other side of the draw is way more difficult. Feyenoord is a good side, though. I mean, I think Roma deserve far better in the first leg, but they need only 3 wins to clinch the league title. They can score many goals as well. They score many. And I think that they will have their chances. That's for sure. Then they have a player who is interesting as well, Differ, the guy who scored the goal against Roma. Well, not only he scored his first goal in European football, but back in March he made his debut for the Netherlands playing against Gibraltar. I think that Tammy Abraham playing will give a booster to Roma, because up front he is offering more than any other striker of the team. Dybala, let's see if he can make it. I still have my doubts that even if he's fit, he's going to play this game. And I hope that El Shaarawy is also slightly more clinical if he plays in this game, because the former Padova player, the former AC Milan player, he was very bad against the Feyenoord, missing a couple of them. And I think that, this is not what you expect from a player of his quality. Roma to win. 195, as I said before. And if you want to water it down a little bit and to suffer only half a lose if they draw, go for Asian handicap minus 0.25 for Roma, 157.
Belotti finally gave a good assist to Pellegrini in the game against Udinese, for instance. Well, Alvaro said it. The winner will play in the semifinal against Union Saint-Gillois or Leverkusen. The Belgian team keeps surprising us in this Europa League with a player that you named in the first leg, Boniface, scoring the goal in Germany at home in the previous round. They destroyed Union Berlin, but Alvaro, Leverkusen are also very good at traveling in this Europa League. They beat Ferencváros away, and especially they qualified, beating Monaco away already this season.
Yes, this game is going to be nice. Both teams to score comes to me like the most logical pick here, based on facts as well, on what happened in the past. In fact, the first leg was a both teams to score textbook game as well, 1-1. Both teams to score here pays 175, and I'm going to back this one. And even over 2.5 goals is something that I could happily back. It pays 1.90, almost doubles up your stake. Look, Bayer Leverkusen, I think that they are going to score here. And I tell you why. Because it's true that in the weekend they were scoreless against Wolfsburg. That's true. But on the other hand, they had a score prior to that game in the last 13 games. Under Xabi Alonso, they are scoring many goals. And they are not even requiring the best of Patrick Schick, because he's still injured until May, or Florian Wirtz, the German promising footballer who didn't start, for example, against Wolfsburg, and he's a player that hasn't scored more goals than some of his teammates this season. And Royal Union Saint-Gillois, look, they reached this point of the competition having done what they had to do. The manager, Karel Gerhardt, has done a very good job, I believe, creating a side that has been competitive pretty much against every element, and away from home they have been very good too in this competition. So this is going to be pretty interesting. I think both teams to score 175 is my favorite bet. I'm not ready, Daniele, to commit exactly to who is going to go through here. I have the feeling that Bayer Leverkusen has more, but Union Saint-Gillois has surprised me so much in this competition that I cannot completely rule them out.
Totally. They destroyed Union Berlin, for instance, another German team. Before, Dani, do you expect goals? Can you back the Leverkusen? Is your friend very happy back in Union Saint-Gillois?
First, yes, I do expect goals. Back Leverkusen, no, because you cannot underestimate Union Saint-Gillois. My friend went to watch the game in Leverkusen, go back at 3 o'clock in the morning. He was happy as Larry. So, I mean, I wish I was him, really. He followed every single game of Union Saint-Gillois, home and away. And he's Italian, by the way. If that's commitment, I don't know what else. But, Union Saint-Gillois are the great story of this European competition. It's a side that hasn't won a league title since 1935. Now are second in the league, and they're probably gonna win the title this season because Club Brugge, who won last season, are outside of the playoff, and I think they're gonna be better than Genk, Ghent, and Royal Antwerp. I really believe so. By the way, Victor Boniface, 22 years old, they signed him from Bodo Glimt. He reminds me of another Victor, which we spoke in the other video, Victor Osimhen. He's Nigerian. He's really powerful. I think he's one to watch. Last season, they had Mitoma. Look at how Mitoma is doing well in the Premier League. So they're very good at scouting as well. They also had Undav, who sold to Brighton. By the way, Union Saint-Gillois, they could have gone to the Bay Arena and parked the bus because they were the lesser side, but they didn't do it. It's not in their DNA, and they like to play up front. And actually, they had a better chance in the first 50 minutes. They also hit the bar. Then they left a little bit of space, and the quality of Bayer Leverkusen emerged. They scored a good goal with Verse, had a few chances at the end with Adsmoon. So I think the only surprising fact about the first leg is there weren't more goals. I like what Xabi Alonso has done at Bayer Leverkusen, picked up a team that was in disarray, stabilized them first, give them a good system with the two wing backs, really good, especially going forward. Frimpong is a team that conceded less goal than before. But let's not forget, last season Bayer Leverkusen had the third best attack of the Bundesliga. And they have strengthened this season. So I think more things, good things are going to come for them. And it's going to be a goals game here. I cannot see Union Saint-Gillois parking the bus again. And I think Bayer Leverkusen have got the quality to hit them. But so Union Saint-Gillois, by the way, they're going to play at the Anderlecht Stadium as they've done all this campaign long, because unfortunately they're very nice, good stadium, historical stadium in the city center of Bruxelles. Is not fit for purpose for you. UEFA matches over 2.5 goals here for me, 190, but very difficult to say who's going to go through.
Surprisingly, actually, the bookies place Leverkusen as favorite now, despite the first leg result. Leverkusen to go through 1.6, Union Saint-Gillois 2.5. Or perhaps it's no surprise because we are looking down at the Union Saint-Gillois, the whole competition, and they are very close.
But we shouldn't. Belgium, at the moment, have got more teams in European competitions than Germany, because they've got two teams in a conference league, and I think that's going to just help. I mean, you can't look at this stage of the competition. I don't think you can look down on anybody after they've gone through knockout stages. So, yeah, I mean, I think it is tough. It is really tough. But it's true that Bayer Leverkusen were playing the Champions League as well.
And Bruges also was great.
And Bruges, yeah, got 4 in the knockout. Yeah, of course.
Exactly. Well, next game, if we are looking forward to hearing the Olímpico, same can be applied for the Sánchez Pizjuán. As Álvaro was saying, the Centenario anthem for Sevilla.
El arrebato.
El arrebato, exactly. After the 2 all resulting Old Trafford, that was a crazy game. To be honest, it's impossible to explain. Man United perhaps could have scored 4, 5, and then 2 own goals. Sevilla kept putting good players in the pitch. They were able to draw, almost to win at Old Trafford. Now Sevilla, they are safe in La Liga. They got an important victory against Valencia, and suddenly, Álvaro, they realize, they believe they can qualify for the semifinals. They can win again the Europa League. Why not? And I'm sure the atmosphere in the Sánchez Pizjuán is going to be amazing with a Man United with a lot of absentees.
Yeah, because Manchester United will have to play with probably Lindelof and Maguire as centre backs, Lisandro Martinez and Rafael Varane. Lisandro Martinez was very unlucky. He picked up an injury and he's going to miss the remainder of the season. Rafael Varane is not available for this game. And, Manchester United not only are going to lose very good defensive competence because Varane and Lisandro were fantastic all season through, but also players who are very tasty on the ball. It's not that Harry Maguire is not, but I think that there is a massive difference between Harry Maguire when he was playing for Leicester and Manchester United. He just doesn't have the confidence to do with the ball what he was doing before when he was playing for Leicester or even for Hull City. But I think that this is going to be a truly interesting game because I think that Manchester United right now is a better side than Sevilla, and they prove it against them at Old Trafford. I mean, let me tell you a little bit how the first game panned out because Manchester United storm into the pitch. First minute, there is a goal denied to Jadon Sancho. Then Anthony has a chance and Bono has to fly just to clear it. Then Savitzer scores 2 goals by the 20th minute of the game. And it looked like Manchester United was going to destroy Sevilla, but it didn't happen. Anthony hit the post in the second half, and after that, Sevilla got the composure back, and they got 2 very lucky goals, pretty much before the end. And even in the city could have scored another one. So Sevilla stayed in the game and they suffered and they went through it and they managed to keep the scoreline in 2-0 for phases of the game. This was the key. Sevilla, after conceding the second goal, they could have conceded more goals, but they still kept in the game. They stayed there. And this is thanks to a very professional performance by all the players. And I think that having the new manager helps because the players like the way Mendilibar is letting them play. With Sampaoli, there is the rumor that Sampaoli was telling the players that they had to play or touch the ball a certain amount of times before having a chance and all that. And with Mendilibar, if Sevilla has to play direct football, they do that. And in 4 games with this manager, Sevilla has won 2 and they have drawn another 2. So Mendilibar is still defeatless as Sevilla manager, and the team is benefiting from having Fernando back again. Fernando is playing very good as a holding midfielder. Then Joan Jordan is helping him a lot. And up front, Lucas Ocampos and Brian Hill have been very good additions in winter. And in the city, he's scoring many goals after the World Cup. And Suso the other day played as a number 10 against Valencia and he did well. So there are things that are happening at Sevilla, most of them positive, all in the space of 15 days. And I will give some merit to Mendilibar, the new coach, as well. That said, I think that Manchester United is a better side, but I am finding myself incapable to predict exactly what's going to happen in the final score, because I know that Sevilla at home, they've been capable of doing amazing things over the last 15 years, and Manchester United have been eliminated by Sevilla twice in the last 5 years as well. So I'm going to go plain and simple for both teams to score 170. Sevilla will have to be very worried of the attacking threat of Anthony Martial, who's playing better, of Bruno Fernandes, especially because the other day against Nottingham Forest, he proved again that he's probably the most dangerous midfielder in the world in terms of goal-scoring capacity. But I think that Sevilla can score as well. So both teams to score 170, and then God will tell what will happen in the full-time result.
Suddenly, Dani, I believe in this Sevilla, to be honest. Sevilla to qualify is 2.4, really good odds.
Sevilla are the Real Madrid of the Europa League. Exactly. They never die. And they were massively lucky against Manchester City at Old Trafford. But as Alvaro is playing really well, they build their own luck by keep going. If you're still alive on the 85th minute and you have a little chance and you take it, then credit to you. Then, of course, Maguire is the most unluckiest person in Manchester these days. But again, you do make your own luck. We have to say that Manchester United come into this game with few injuries, as Alvaro explained it very well. But the way Den Haag has rotated this team and has used the subs also the weekend make you believe he's got a good grip of the situation. Manchester United this season have been impressive for the changes they made, for the switches, the tactical switches during the games they made to plan A, to plan B, move players out of position, and they still felt comfortable. So obviously this could imply Manchester United gonna field a very strong 11 there and go there without fear, I think. And credit of course to Den Haag. The return of Eriksen in midfield with Casemiro is really important because it's gonna free up Bruno Fernandes, as Alvaro mentioned before. Martial is back in form. Sancho is having a very good season. Weghorst is still very useful. And then there is the debate on Anthony. Is he more useful or spectacular? I think he could be useful if he's given the right ball, played into space, etc. But obviously, when it comes to Sevilla, there is a bit of a new manager bounce. Obviously, they're getting better results now that they are into their third manager. And then obviously there is the home factor, against PSV Eindhoven at home, they were really, really good earlier. So I could expect goals here. I can't imagine really being a 0-0 or a low scoring affair. Also, Manchester United away form in the league has been a bit iffy recently. I'm going to go for over 2.5 goals, 193. And if I was pretty certain Manchester United would qualify for the semi-final before the first leg, I got less certainties now, for sure.
Me too. Bruno Fernandes, by the way, is suspended. If I'm not
he's suspended.
mistaken.
Okay. So that's
yellow. So he's gonna miss this game. Massive. This Sevilla Man United with Harry Maguire.
For that silly suspension. It was a very silly yellow.
They have so many absentees. By the way, Man United, they are used to travel to Spain this season, and they got very good results against Barcelona, Real Sociedad, and Betis playing away. But as Dani said, they are struggling in the Premier League when they are playing away. Still favorites, 1.6.
Shall we say something about the Sevilla anthem, by the way? It was one of the songs I used to listen at least once a week for no little reason. The Sevilla anthem really get me fired up. But since we lost the Europa League final against them, Inter lost in... no, I don't listen.
You cannot stand it.
No, I can't stand it anymore. But I loved it. I loved for 10 years. Solid. Loved it. At least
too.
Once.
El Arrebato, as you said, Venditti for Roma's anthem. I used to listen to that
as a musician is bit better L'Arrebato, but with all due respect to L'Arrebato, is a fantastic anthem.
You won't hear me criticizing Venditti or Roma's anthem. I'm a super big fan, of course, of Roma anthem, the atmosphere and everything around the Giallorossi. Dani, and the last game is Sporting Juventus. Very lucky Juventus to got another victory and clean sheet in the Europa League. Also the stars, the luck, or whatever you call it, or perhaps the goalkeeper, of course. Perin saved the victory in the last minute. Also, Szczesny made some good saves before he suffered this problem in the chest. Juventus, they lost to Sassuolo. They are looking bad also in the Serie A, back-to-back defeats, playing away. But in the Europa League, somehow they keep clean sheets. Dani, against Nantes, against Freiburg. This one is going to be tough, but Sporting... Also, they struggle when they are playing at home in the Europa League. They drew against Arsenal or Midtjylland.
They drew against Arsenal, which I think is a good result for them. Because, they could have won it, that one, When they were 2-1, Paulinho and a massive chance could have been 3-1, and then they did the job in the Emirates. Look, Juventus... They had a little bounce, a little spells mid-season where they were playing a little bit better, and we thought, okay, Juventus now have clicked, but actually they haven't clicked. They still back to the old principles of Allegri. It is a very rigid formation. There isn't a lot of creativity there. At the weekend, Milik and Vlahovic up front to try to help the Serbian. Didn't really work. Juventus were under the cosh against Sassuolo for long spells with a lot of chances, and then they were saved by Perin, but succumbed in the second half. And the worrying thing is that apart from a header from Rabiot, with Consigli made a great save, they didn't really produce a lot of chances. This is worrying. I know midweek games are tough. Even the second strings of Juventus, in the end, they played with Chiesa, with Pogba on the pitch, of course, with Di Maria. Couldn't really do much. I think Juventus are suffering from a lack of creativity. I think the 3-5-2 formation, it's good, but you do need a midfielder with a little bit more creativity, or someone who can run into the box a little bit more. Of course, Pogba is being more a hit, more miss than hit at the moment. And they've been lucky in the first leg against Sporting. They had 20 minutes at the beginning, decent, with a couple of chances. But then in the end, if it wasn't for Adan's mistake, by the way, another mistake of Adan, the goalkeeper, Gatti would not have scored, probably would have finished 0-0. And Perin made 3 massive saves. So, Juventus this season away lost to Benfica, lost to PSG, against Freiburg did okay, beat Nantes, but you would expect them to beat Nantes, lost in Israel against Maccabi Tel Aviv. So I don't know, I think, or Maccabi Haifa. Maccabi Haifa, sorry. I don't know, I think they're going to struggle. I do feel one between Juventus and Roma is not qualifying. I think it's going to be Juve. I don't know. I got bad feelings here. I got feelings on like mid-90s when they traveled to La Coruña and conceded 4, that kind of things. I don't know. Juve could be in trouble, but let's not jinx it maybe for the Italian side. Let's go for goals here. I think over 1.25 goals in the second half, the game should open up. I mean, this is no away goal rules. So if Juventus are winning 1-0, Sporting are going to go for it. Doesn't matter if they lose 2-0 or 3-0, try to get a goal back. If Sporting are winning 1-0, they'll try, of course, to add the second. I think the game is going up in the second half. Over 1.25 goals in the second half, 2-1. If there's only 1 goal in the second half, you only lose half your stake.
The odds are massive, actually, for Juventus to win. 3.4, Alvaro.
Yeah, and my only bet here is going to be a double chance for Juventus, 164. I really think that this is the moment for Juventus to step up. It's easier saying than doing it, of course, but there must be a sense of duty within Juventus player and within Juventus camp. There must be a sense of responsibility for Juventus to negotiate this. They are not going to qualify for the Champions League via Serie A, not anymore. I mean, it looks like
we don't know
very
that.
Difficult.
No, we don't know
I
that.
don't. Of course, I don't know that.
They might be given the points back on the 19th of April, but okay, it's a massive asterisk.
Look, if perhaps if they get those points back, they're going to make it. But if they don't, they are almost 10 points away from Champions League spots, and we are in late April already, or mid-April. I think it's difficult for them, and the Europa League is their option, really. And I think that they have to step up here. I know that they have had this season a number of issues, also on the pitch, and the problem with the scorers is also quite remarkable. I mean, in the Serie A, Rabiot and Vlahovic are the top scorers of Juventus, and they have scored only 8 goals each. For Rabiot, that's very good. For Dusan Vlahovic, is not enough. Federico Chiesa is playing better. I think he's finding his best form, but they really have to show their worth here in this game. Because, for example, in the first leg, I think that apart from a chance from Chiesa and then the goal, Sporting hoovered every ball and had the best chances, definitely in the first half, and then pretty much at the end of the game as well. Bellerin had a glorious chance to get the equalizer. You have spoken about that. And I think that Juventus is going to make it also for not only because they need it more than anybody else, but also because Sporting Club Portugal has been rather poor at home this season in Europe. They have played 5 games at home and they have won only 1. They beat Tottenham, but then they lost the remaining 2 games in the Champions League at home. And in the Europa League, the reason why they are in this stage of the competition is because they've been good away from home. But at home, they have gotten only 2 draws. So I think that Juve can make it clear. I expect the best players to step up. Di Maria being one of them, of course, if he is starting this game. And when it comes to Sporting, they are missing as well an important player like Saint-Just, who normally features for this team week in and week out, and probably they're going to miss him. Let's see if Antonio Adan is ready for the challenge. We have seen that Matías Perín, the Juventus goalkeeper, is totally ready for this challenge. Double chance for Juventus, 164.
Well, the bookies see Juve favorite to go through, 1.4 to qualify, 3.05 for Sporting, but for the game, Sporting is the favorite one, 2.35, and we have massive odds. If you back Juventus, the Vecchia Signora, they need to win the Europa League, perhaps to be in the Champions League next season. We are still awaiting confirmation from Serie A about the deduction of points. For Juve, very interesting this Europa League, to be honest. We have 4 massive games. We had a lot of fun in the quarterfinals. In the first leg, let me know in the comments which teams do you think are going to go through. This is more open than the Champions League, actually, the second leg. In the meantime, And to finish the video, let's go with your favorite bets, Alvaro.
Yeah, it could be Union Saint-Gillois, Leverkusen, over 2 goals, 145.
Goals, of course, you both agree on that, Dani?
Roma Asian handicap minus 0.25, 166.
And your ACCA, Dani?
Roma to win. Union Saint-Gillois, Bayer Leverkusen, both team to score. Sevilla, Manchester United, over 1.5 goals. Sporting, Juventus, the same, over 1.5 goals. The total odds, 6.78.
You have it in the screen just for you to take notes. And Alvaro, your ACCA for this Thursday?
Yeah, it could be Roma to score over 0.5 goals. Union Saint-Gillois, Leverkusen, over 2.5 goals. And Juventus to score over 0.5 goals. Altogether, 342.
Okay, I hope you had fun. You enjoyed the video. Don't forget, of course, to press the like, subscribe, and see you very soon. Thank you, Alvaro. Thank you, Dani.
Oh.
Bye-bye.